Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. On this channel, we spend our time looking at fantasy of all sorts, from books to movies to video games, and applying the characters within into the tabletop game Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. And today we're going to be talking about a core mechanic in the game, arguably the core mechanic from a player's perspective, and that is your ability scores. Ability scores are the foundation of every character sheet. They're the big numbers on the left-hand side, and they represent what your character is capable of. There are 6 ability scores in this game, and I'm going to be talking about each of them briefly, describing what they do, and in my opinion, which ones are the superior ones. So the very first ability score that most people see on their sheet is the top left, and it is Strength. Strength is a very simple ability score. How hard can you hit something? And this is useful most of the time. Because whether or not you are a fighter, a barbarian, a paladin, a ranger, anyone who's using a weapon that isn't ranged or finesse, strength is your main stat with that weapon. Using strength, you can push, you can lift, you can pull, you can shove, you can grapple and tackle. You are strong. This is a good thing to be. There are a lot of characters that get around strength by not needing it. Personally, I say that having a strength ability score is an 8 out of 10 thing to have. It's a good thing, and having a good strength makes you strong. It's pretty simple. As far as the next one, Dexterity, I don't think this is a controversial thing to say. Dexterity is the god stat of D&D. It does a lot. First of all, it determines your armor class. It determines how easy it is to hit you. Unless you're in heavy armor, dexterity affects how hard it is to hit you because you can dodge. It affects your stealth and your ability to be quiet. It affects your ability in motor skills, both acrobatic, gross, big motor skills, and your sleight of hand, fine motor skills. It affects your ability to evade. It affects your ability to shoot things. It is your accuracy for your bows and your crossbows. It is your finesse. If you're using a weapon that doesn't require strength, it uses dexterity instead. Dexterity is useful for everyone. No matter who you are, it is likely dexterity will help you in some way. Unless you are a heavy armor, heavy weapon wielding person who doesn't care about dodging things because you can just take everything and you don't care about being sneaky because you're just going to beat everyone up, then dexterity might not be for you. But for everyone else in the game, dexterity is useful. Medium armor wielders, finesse wielders, ranged attackers, sneaky people, everyone loves dex. It is the 10 out of 10 skill. The next stat is Constitution. Constitution is your ability to take damage, but not just take it. It does determine your hit points, which is important for everyone, but it also determines your ability to resist things, your ability to resist poisons, your ability to resist diseases, your ability to withstand effects. A lot of magical effects require a Constitution saving throw. I say Constitution simply for its health is 9 out of 10, and is certainly no slouch when it comes to defenses. It's just not a ability score that's tied to any skills. It's very one-sided, but it is a side that matters in basically every campaign. Next up, Intelligence. And intelligence is the least useful skill. And here's why I say that. There's only 2 classes that use intelligence. In the original book, it was just one, the wizard. Unless you're an eldritch knight or an arcane trickster, you don't need intelligence. Unless you are a studious individual who needs to know a lot, there's only 5 skills that use intelligence, and 4 of them are knowledge-based. And the 5th one is investigation, which I think is a bit overrated anyway. I think that intelligence is a 7 out of 10 skill. If you're a wizard, it's essential. If you're an artificer from the newer books, it's also essential. Anyone else could treat intelligence as a dumb stat, and it probably wouldn't affect their game much at all. It is not the best skill. It is, in fact, the worst stat, in my opinion. Then you have the last two, and these ones actually I need to be very specific about the difference of ability scores and saving throws, because an ability score affects your skills, your attacks, your spell casting, all that stuff. Your saving throw is different, and I'll explain this as I go. First up, we have wisdom. Wisdom affects your skills mostly. It's perception, it's insight, it is half of the knowledge stuff. And it really is a useful skill to have, but it is not the most useful skill because it has mostly to do with spotting things. This is great, it's good to spot things and to interpret things. But honestly, wisdom is more useful as a saving throw because wisdom saves are the most common magic saves out there. If you're trying to resist a spellcaster's influence, it is probably a wisdom save. They are really, really common. For an ability score, it powers the magic of a couple classes, the natural ones. Clerics and druids and rangers use wisdom. This is good if you're one of those classes, it's essential. If you're a monk, it's also kind of essential. But I say that as an overall ability score, it's an 8 out of 10. For the saving throws, though, it's a 10 out of 10. It is the best saving throw to have other than possibly dexterity. Then we get charisma. Charisma is your ability to persuade, deceive, but more than that. Charisma is a magic-based skill for more classes than wisdom or intelligence. Sorcerers, warlocks, bards all use charisma. So do paladins. This is a key skill magically, more so than any other skill. And it does affect social interaction almost exclusively. Yeah, sure, knowing insight and perception is good, but knowing persuasion, performance, and deception are more important. And the fact that they affect both of those pillars of play, whether you're talking about lying to the guards, persuading the king, or slinging a spell as one of 4 different classes, that's kind of big. I say that as an ability score, charisma is the 10 out of 10 that goes alongside dexterity. As a saving throw, though, not so much. Charisma saving throws are largely based on resisting mind control or resisting being lied to, and that comes down more to insight. It's tricky, and I would say that charisma saving throws an 8 out of 10, but as a stat, it's 10 out of 10. So I'll recap. These are the first 4 skills, and their ability and their saving throw I put on par. Strength, 8 out of 10. Dex, 10 out of 10. Constitution, 9 out of 10. And Intelligence, 7 out of 10. For both the stat and the save. Then Wisdom and Charisma. As ability scores, Wisdom is 8. Charisma is 10. Saving throws flip that. Wisdom is 10. Charisma is 8. Now, obviously, if you're playing a wizard, you're not going to agree with this because intelligence is your key stat, but I'm talking about the game as a whole. Please focus on your main stat. Your main stat should be your main stat, and you should pump it as high as you can. Constitution is probably a good second for all characters because hit points. Dexterity might be a good third. It depends on who you are, but in general, these are the numbers I give to the stats and the saves for the game as a whole. And keep these in mind as you build your character. What stat are you going to dump? Where do you want to put that extra saving throw if you take resilient? And yeah, this is how you build a character. You start with the building blocks and you go from there. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more videos coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.